Yes, sir.
Who is it decided that we need a new church?
Well, I think that was 10 years ago. The building committee or the parish council, and Father can address this better than I can, had decided that originally what was decided was this, when this was originally built, and there were 4 of these built. There was St. Monica's, St. Gabriel's.
There were 5. St. Simon, St. Gabriel, St. Luke,
St. Luke,
Barnabas,
and here, Matthew. And this structure was originally targeted to be the gymnasium. That's why you heard Father a couple times say permanent home. Now, whether that's come and gone, but originally this was called a temporary church. It was going to be turned into the gym, originally. Now, that's a long, long time ago. So the building committee had looked at possibly, instead of building a gymnasium, building a church, because as I recall, 10 years ago, your parish felt much stronger about building a new church than you did about building a gym. So felt, let's put the new money for the church, and then we'll turn this into the gym. That was where I think that thinking, sorry, probably the subject. Now, whether that needs to be revisited today or not, you don't need the gym now. The demand's not going to be there the way it was. So that's why it makes more sense now, with the moons lining up the way they are, to take this building and make it, a nicer church. Yes, sir.
I understand the concern over quote-unquote rushing into this, but I would ask everyone to consider how many of you know of the cost of anything going down over time. So if we wait, and think about it and mull it over, the cost of doing this is just going to continue to go up. So I think it's in our best interest to make a decision quickly.
Yeah, there's no doubt right now is a great time to build a building, without question, because of the economy the way it is and the costs are down. But you can't necessarily control that every minute of every day. I mean, by the time if you decided that you wanted to do this, I'm sure there's a certain amount of bureaucracy and paperwork that has to be gone through with the Archdiocese to get the debt reduced, and with your pastoral council. And then if this was the concept, we'd have to meet with the building committee again. We haven't met for 3 years, I think, and talk through that and get more parish input on this. But I think the purpose of these drawings today wasn't to say, this is what we're going to do. It's saying, here's a potential. This could be a very beautiful church, an enhanced church, renovated of what's here today. So that would help you in deliberating on your decision of whether or not to allow your capital funds to be used for debt reduction. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Nobody's addressed that yet.
And the goal is going to be to restore the cafeteria space down there someday at some point with whatever funding is available to do these in pieces, to restore that someday back to its original form. Take the spaces that were built out in it over time and make it a larger gathering space. Is that a fair statement, Father? Yes, there'll be 2 exit doors out of each, so I feel like a flight attendant. There'll be 2 exit doors out that side. And then there'll also be the door up here on the side, which will come into this gathering space. So if you're early and don't want to come up front, you'd come in the shortest distance between 2 points. If you're like me and run a little late, you can run and come in the back way. Yes?
Are we going to be able to vote on colors?
I saw. I usually leave colors alone, but I think that's an important question. What will happen is your building committee will reconvene. And your building committee has been, sometimes when I hear it, it sounds like we're rushing here, but boy, oh boy, we've been involved in this for 10 years. And the building committee will come back together again. They'll start to address the specifics of this. And we're showing a baptismal font, we're showing ample space for choir in here, which is really important to you in your music ministry. We've covered most of the things we think, but we got to deal with the accessibility issues. So we'll come back as a committee and probably work this to a great level of detail. And then we'll probably come back to you as a parish, and we won't be talking about the financial aspect like we are today. We'll be talking about the building. And at a certain point in time, the building committee, I'm sure, would show you finishes that you would either agree or disagree on or come to terms with. But typically that's how it's done. And the lower tone, the better.
Jim,
Yes?
Jim, is there still a possibility that, what would be the option of turning the church 90 degrees instead of 180?
We looked at that.
Familiar with
Yeah.
what St. Monica did before they did?
Yeah, we looked at that, and we actually came up with a really good scheme, where we turned it this way, and we built out and put the sanctuary over there to the east. It really helped out a lot, it did a lot of great things, but it was about $1,750,000. And it just, you know, it just couldn't be done cost effectively because of the structure. And so we stayed away from that, because these are the times where building projects are won or lost financially. It's when you come out of the gate with too high of expectations and think you're gonna make it happen, because we think there's gonna be a divine intervention, it's gonna help us out. Doesn't happen. So we just made that decision that that was way too far off the nut. We couldn't do it, but we could do what we're talking here. Yes.
I asked Father this the other day. I still have a little bit left to pay on my legacy of mission, so should I continue to pay on that? Or should I just divert that money to the parish?
I would assume you pay on your pledge would be what I think you'll do. That's, I'm trying.